Let me let you in on something the government would rather you not know. The government actually has two separate governments. One that people know about and vote into office, and another one that we know absolutely nothing about. The secret government. If you think I'm making this up, just Google black budget. Do it after the video, because you don't want this video to come down during the delay. The black budget is a budget for organizations, people, projects no one ever gets to know about. Crazy thing is, the black budget is almost as big as the regular budget. The black budget can spend on whatever they want, as much as they want, and no voter really knows what they're doing, so there's no consequences. Last year they spent $52.8 billion. That's a lot. Very few people know where any of that money goes, but due to my relationship with my ex-husband Avi, I do know where some of that money goes, and you won't believe it when I tell you. I'm putting myself at risk to tell you this. A significant part of the black budget goes towards an academic and scientific task force called DIFUS. And this is an organization, you will never find them on Wikipedia because it officially doesn't exist. DIFUS is a team of mathematicians, statisticians, and programmers swept up from Israel, Russia, and China, and other countries, which together form this organization. DIFUS is an ancient word that means the pattern. The job of this task force is to find the pattern. What pattern? What they're looking for is a certain kind of algorithm, one that can be used to accurately predict key factors in the economy, and especially the movement of particular stocks in the stock market. Their real goal is to be able to predict the movement of stocks by a mathematical algorithm or pattern, instead of chasing news stories and interest rate spikes, which always put their capital at risk. According to many statisticians, finding such an algorithm is impossible. But many scientists within the government disagree, and they've been searching for it on grants for the black budget for over 18 years. DIFUS gives tens of millions of dollars each year to generate more and more data and information from the history of money going back centuries, all to find the pattern that's behind it all. Why are they so obsessed with this pattern? Why are they so obsessed with developing this algorithm? Well, just think about it. Imagine you had a machine that's not fancy. It only does one thing. It trades profitably 100% of the time. If that actually existed, it would change history in a way, more than an atom bomb ever could have. It would actually shift the balance of power between nations forever. Think about that. Think about what it would mean. A truly perfect level of accuracy, theoretically, would be like being able to win every single bet that happens in Vegas, every single day, with rapid investment. Ultimately, that would create so much cash, it would make Solomon's treasure look like a rotten banana peel. So that's why they've been searching for it for decades. There was never much news to report about it all this time. And then, in early 2014, not too long ago, for the first time, something actually happened. DIFUS reported to their bosses that they felt they'd made a breakthrough. They'd said this many times before. But when actually tested, it didn't work nearly as well as they had said it would. It never was the pattern to end all. But this was different. Because this time, after they shared this algorithm, they all lost their jobs the next day. You weren't expecting me to say that, were you? Well, they came to their bosses with this formula. It was analyzed for 24 hours, and then it caused quite a ruckus in the main office when they watched the results posted. They were running around like beady-eyed beavers, waiting to get the results, cross-checked with another division of their scientists. This division was working parallel to DIFUS, and they were just as skilled as they were. They ran it through its paces and came back and said, bingo! This was it. This actually worked. Basically every single time. With that confirmation, the government had what they wanted. The next immediate job was to make sure it stayed among themselves. They shredded all the paperwork used to develop this formula and bribed every scientist to sign a gag order and agreed to never speak of their work again. What was the big deal? They knew what they had found wasn't just any pattern, it was the source of wealth itself. An algorithm subtle enough, complex enough, and far-reaching enough that it could actually accurately predict the movement of stocks, in this case with 99.9% accuracy, which, as every trader knows, is just about as good as 100%. You can never lose money at 99.9% accuracy. The only thing that happens at that level is you get rich. My ex-husband is the only one who did not sign the gag order. He wouldn't take the bribe. He realized how important this was, and he didn't want it to remain in the hands of a few who had no interest in doing anything for the many. That had been going on for too long. So while the Fed said they'd been watching him closely, he was still a free agent and in possession of that information. Then, one day the next week, he didn't come home. We were told they took him in for questioning, and that it could be weeks before he comes out. I knew how corrupt his bosses were, and how their real enemies don't see the light of day. I cried every night. Maybe this was it. But Dustin and Taylor needed their dad. Who was going to put them to bed, play catch with them, teach them Spanish? I had no idea what would become of my husband and the father of my children. And then there's me. Was I ready to be a single mom? I didn't know if I could handle this kind of loss. Then one night, I got a phone call from someone who only spoke in a whisper. I could tell right away it was Avi, and I could tell he was in a rush. All he said was, "Check the top drawer in my office desk. There's something funny you should read." Something funny? It had to be a cover for something. What he was actually doing was leaking it to me to make sure it got out, even if he didn't. He told me later that he had actually figured out the formula a day before the team and wrote it down and input it into their trading software. And keep that in mind as the story continues. The letter said, "You will never worry about money ever again if you just follow these instructions. Share this only with people who need it and keep it away from people who don't. Get on the computer. In the corner of the screen, it will ask for a 64-digit password, which is on the back of this page. And the rest is easy." He was right. It was easy. The next thing that happens, it asks me to connect a bank with my routing number and tracking number. I hit enter. Then it says money has been deposited. Then appears one red button that says engage. I hit it. And then I'm taken to a new screen that has a lot going on it. I see a screen with waves and peaks and depths constantly moving, sort of like a heart monitor. Then a woman's voice, kind of like Siri, says, "Process 1 begins in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then, among the peaks and dips, I start to see little blips or flashes of light on top of the peak and on the bottom of the dips. Then the next thing I know, words are flashing on the right side of the screen. Buy, sell, 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 buy. It was happening so fast I could barely read it. Then another part of the screen is showing my earnings. It moves around sort of like a debt clock, constantly changing and flickering. But I could see that within the first few seconds, it was saying I had earned $22. I watched it happen a little more, and then I saw there was $48 in there. Then 60, 84, 130, 149, and then it starts to speed up. 189, 254, 349, 489, 789, 849, 1,349. Then it says, almost like the screen you get when you finish an arcade game, trading session complete. Next session in 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Time elapsed, 1.25 seconds. Profits earned, $1,349.22. Was this for real? This couldn't be for real. I could not have generated $1,349.22 in about 5 minutes, so I checked my bank account online. It said there was a deposit pending for $1,349.22. Holy crap! Then it starts up again. Session number 2, earnings, 165, 159, 256, starts getting faster again, 478, 612, 847, 1,158, $1,575.54. Trading session complete. You now have a total of $3,478.78. I ran 5 sessions that day, and I earned $10,478.69. I felt like I was dreaming, like this couldn't possibly be happening. I pulled up a calculator, and that's when I realized, if this keeps up, I will be a millionaire in under 3 months. I did some more calculations and realized if I did it every year, I would be one of the top 10 richest women here in Oregon, where I live. And now, thank you very much, I am. I own this, and this, and this. Beachfront properties, apartment buildings, some big hotel, and my bank account usually looks like this, while my real money is being constantly reinvested with the system. Avi never came home. He said it was too dangerous. He filed for divorce. He left me and the kids, maybe to give us a life we deserve. Still breaks my heart even to talk about it. And as difficult as that time was, I know it was God's plan. It was well worth it. That's a taste of how the system has helped us.